Howdy, howdy. It's Trisha Lee. I'm here in Alberta, Canada with my partner, Larry Lieber. Larry is the VP of Development for Team Sunshine Solar Systems and TK Environmental, and he has a history of starting up technology that grew into Suncast Polyurethanes, which is like $1 million company that still operates today in Edmonton. And Larry sold out of that company in about 2008. And tonight we're going to be talking about our recycling company because we made a very interesting discovery, and it's just part of the game that we're playing, being business owners. And so the topic isn't really disruptive technology per se that's going to affect people around the globe. However, locally, it's a little bit disruptive, and especially for what we're doing. So this morning, I came home and I got an email from Larry showing me a website that is going that revealed to me a company that is going to be competing with us in our curbside recycling business. And so at first I was a little bit horrified, actually a lot horrified, because really the community we live in, personally, I don't really think it's big enough for two curbside recycling companies. And I'm a little concerned because the company seems like it has a lot more resources than we do. And it's not that we don't have resources, it's just that we have been pouring all of our resources from our recycling company into our disruptive technology that we've been working to develop and paying for patents, and actually ended up turning to internet marketing to be able to generate more resources to help with our startup company. And so whether you're doing a startup company or you have an established business, we are all, even if you work at a job, we are all at the mercy of the marketplace. And after reeling for a few minutes, I realized that it's just part of the game, and that it doesn't really make sense for this other company to be able to compete with us. So what were your initial thoughts when you first saw that there's another company moving into our community to offer the same service that we have? Initially, when you first saw it, Larry?
Same as yours.
Well, you saw it before me, so.
Yeah. I'm always trying to keep Think and Grow Rich on my mind, and that is a very powerful tool. So when something disruptive happens and I'm not expecting it, the first thing that my mind does is start tapping into my subconscious mind. And so it's almost because I studied that publication so thoroughly, it has really, really occupied a lot of space in my subconscious mind. So at first my reaction was, oh no.
Yeah, well, really, I initially was like, these people are going to put us out of business because they have this amazing website, and I know how time-consuming and or expensive it is to create a website like theirs. And they also potentially have a storefront, which we don't have. We operate out of a truck, and it's not a very good truck. So I'm thinking that they're going to have this awesome new truck, and all of our customers are going to be like, we'll pay more to have the fancy truck come to pick up our stuff. And there's, from what we read on the website, there's no sorting in their system. So I initially was like really fearful that our customers were going to see their probably way nicer equipment and easier, more streamlined service and say, yeah, screw it, I'm going to go pay more. Because from what we read on the website, this competing company, but when I actually thought about it, I realized, no, this is ridiculous. We're already an established business. The business that we purchased back in 2011, I believe, 2010, something like that, 2009. We purchased it in 2009. It was already 10 years old. So our business is really well established. And as far as our truck goes, well, the reason that we haven't even been looking into updating our truck is because we are planning to replace our truck with a team of horses and a wagon to pick up our recycling. And we know that that we've talked about that as being a disruptive technology, using really old technology to disrupt the marketplace. We talked about that on previous Hangouts if you want to check out the YouTube channel and look for that. But our epic fail, that Hangout was all about our failed Kickstarter campaign. However, we got hooked up with something called a booster campaign that's run through our local bank. And so hopefully we're going to be able to get these horses and wagons on the road within 2 months of this company starting up, and they're going to be very short-lived is my feeling. And if not, I also see potential for partnering together. But I realize we really, really have a big, big competitive edge, because what they're offering is for $12 a month, they'll come and pick up bi-weekly, and our service is $7 a month, and it's every single week. So, and they're offering, like, you can have up to 6 bags of stuff, and I think you pay per bag. But who wants to have 6 bags of recycling in their garage or yard or whatever? No, you want that stuff picked up every week. So right away I realized that, okay, well, we can, there's no need to be concerned or brokenhearted or any of that kind of stuff that I was having as an initial reaction, because I now realize that we have a big competitive edge. They might have a little more skills as far as or they've paid, they might have a little more reason.
You still there? Are you still there? Okay, well, I don't know if that's Trish having the problem. I'm just going to quickly refresh my page to see if it's me. So stay tuned if you're watching. I'm just going to refresh. Well, I guess it is Trish having a problem with her on her end. So everybody, I'll just kind of pick up where she left off. Um, I have a little more business experience, and not that that makes a difference. However, when things like this happen and disrupt the way a business is operating, it's oh, we lost you there. I just kind of carried on.
Great. Yeah, I don't know. Some technical difficulties, it happens, but yeah, I'm back. What were you saying?
Well, what I was just kind of carrying on from where you left off, being that being experienced in business with my first company, I also kind of reflected a little bit on that and how we had a patent, and then a company sued us in about 2003 or 2004, saying that we were infringing on their patent. And when we said, okay, well, let's go to court, they immediately backed down. And it's almost the same thing, like you said, yeah, like you were saying, when you're already established in business, when competitors come along, I think it's great, because the reason we don't publicize this on any of our media or social networks, but if you haven't noticed, we're into the environment, we're into protecting the environment, and we have been that way for a long time. That's why our service is so inexpensive, is because we want to make people feel, we want people to feel comfortable about using our service, and especially about switching from fossil fuels to solar power with our, we don't mention it a lot with our solar technology, but our solar heat collector and electric crown are going to be very reasonably priced. Reason is we're just like a lot of other competitors in the solar industry. Their mission is to get the world off fossil fuels, and so a lot of the products that are available on the market aren't really expensive anymore like they used to be. So in a sense, it's kind of the same way. So there's really no reason to be concerned. I actually feel grateful that someone else has also picked up the ball. You know, they might have another marketing niche there. Personally, don't think their business model makes sense. Um, and I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but we're, like I say, we're really out to make it affordable for people to be able to use our service, and so they don't have to be running around and dealing with that sort of hassle. So more power to anybody who wants to come along and pick up recycling or get into the recycling business, because the bottom line is it's just good for the planet, you know. And when you look at what this other company is interested, their concerns parallel our concerns quite dramatically. And you know, with what we've seen in the ocean, the plastic in the ocean, and that sort of stuff, they also refer to the exact same thing. So we're really kind of we're in a sense on the same team, but maybe a couple of different coaches. You know, coaches all
Well,
have different viewpoints.
I'd like for you to describe for me more of what you're thinking about as far as not partnership, but you were saying somehow that we could use it to our advantage. I didn't quite understand that when we talked earlier.
Well, how can we use that in our advantage? Well, there's things that we can do. I don't really want to
Oh, okay.
discuss them on a Hangout.
But I think that yeah, it's important that we talk to them and get some more information. Like, I really want to know where they're taking their stuff. If they're not taking their stuff to the local depot like we are, maybe we can pay them to take our stuff instead and not have to have our customers dealing with sorting anymore. Because we have had a few unsubscribes because people not wanting to have to sort. Although if you take it there yourself, you have to sort it anyway. But yeah, I think that for me, this has like been really disruptive. I've just had this last couple of weeks have been like super hectic. You can probably tell just by looking at me. I'm kind of a wreck. We went out and purchased a team of horses that were already trained that had been going around the city of Saskatoon giving hay rides and stuff. And so we purchased these two horses, and one of them inexplicably just freaking up and died on me. So I'm suffering from like a $6,000 loss, and now I have to deal with a competitor in that company. But it's really a good thing that these things have happened, because it's kind of lit a fire under me that it's time to like get a little bit more serious and get to work on bringing these horses out on the street. Definitely when that happens, I think we'll get a huge competitive edge, because, you know, we're not only recycling, but we're going to be able to stop burning diesel. But like, I think that the main motivation that I've got right now is making sure that every single one of our subscribers knows exactly what we're doing, so that they're not, and for the most part, we've been keeping it pretty hush hush, because, you know, as a idea persons, like, it's not the service and idea, it's not something that you can patent or protect. So I've been kind of hush hush about it. And now I think it's really important that every single one of our subscribers knows all about these horses. I do have another team of horses besides the one that passed away, but they're not trained yet. However, we're working on it, and I'm sure we'll figure something out by the time that we get the equipment in place. And but yeah, I really want all of our subscribers to know exactly what we're planning. And also I want them to know about King Sunshine Solar Systems, because that will explain like why we haven't invested as heavily in the recycling company. And when people understand what we're doing with our disruptive technology, they get really, really, really excited. And do you want to just describe what we've come up with, Larry, for people in a simple way that people can understand so they can get excited too?
Well, essentially, I was just gonna make that point. Well, I was thinking the point while you're talking about one of the strategies right now for the recycling company. I really haven't discussed it with you a lot, but thinking about now that we have such a sustainable minded government and country actually starting to think along these lines, some of the ideas that we've had in recycling over the past several years regarding glass and especially tin will also we want to somehow um, make people aware, possibly our subscribers, possibly people that our subscribers know. We kind of want to make them aware that a lot of the recycling material can be used in products, just like we're using in King Sunshine Solar Systems. With tin cans, there are methods of making solar heat exchangers, almost like they use air. You can buy them, but we have ideas on how people could make them very efficiently and make them in large quantities, because there's such an incredible amount of food tins. I'm talking stuff like dog food cans and soup cans. These are 50 to 70% of the construction of these solar heat devices. Um, I've gotten ideas for using glassware. There's some glassware that shows up in recycling that is completely fine. I'm not talking about jars. There's these little tiny things. I'm not sure exactly what they come in, some kind of pudding or whatever, but they're made out of glass, and they come in packaging, and you buy them in the store. And when you finish eating the contents, you're left with this really nice piece of glassware, which is about 3 inches in diameter and about an inch high. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be smart if we collected these and found somebody who likes making candles, and we could give them a supply of these nice little glass containers to make candles? What you have here, people, is if you're out of work from the oil and gas or fossil fuel industry anywhere, this is one of these ideas that it may not make a mountain of income, but at least it's actually doing something that's sustainable. And believe it or not, a lot of governments are supporting this sort of work now, especially in Canada and Alberta as well, where you can actually get funding available to get this type of company off the ground. So I think that's brings us all the way around to the sustainability about recycling. It is what it is, and there's lots more to be done. And yeah, there's a few things on the plate that I have to address regarding the curbside recycling company. And I don't know if any other recycling companies actually think the way we do, based on just the results we get and the ideas we come up with.
Well, the thing about it is that this new company can come in and they can put our recycling company completely out of business. However, with King Sunshine Solar Systems, that's not as big of a concern because we have patents. Our recycling company is not a new idea. There's not a thing original that these people, this competitor, there's nothing original about their business. It's already been done. It's already being done. People already know about it. People know that they can do it. You're making a whole bunch of noise, Larry. Whatever you're doing,
sorry.
either mute or stop. But yeah, there's but with King Sunshine, it is we're doing something that nobody, as far as we know, has thought of. And being that we have patents, then people that have thought of it before have not run with it. So it's a whole different ball game, and there's a lot more security when you have patents. It will not be nearly as easy for someone to come and duplicate what we're doing with King Sunshine, and start a business out of it. It's just practically impossible. You'd have to license our technology to be able to use it in your own business. People will be able to profit off it, but to take it away from us, that can happen. Whereas with the recycling company, maybe, but I'm not worried about it like I was this morning when I first heard about it. I'm not at all worried about it. I'm actually it's laughable. I do not see people looking at a shiny new truck and saying, well, I'm going to pay $5 more every month for less service because they have a nicer truck. I really, really, really don't believe that the average person will do that. And I certainly don't think very many of our customers are going to jump ship, especially once they're all well informed about the horse project and King Sunshine. Because what you're doing with King Sunshine is phenomenal. And I really liked your comments that you made. However, you didn't answer my question, Larry. So do you want to briefly describe our disruptive technology that we're developing with King Sunshine?
Well, basically, it's we used a bunch of parts that we got ideas from the recycling company, and we took a Fresnel lens and turned it into something called a solar heat collector. And what it does is it heats up a liquid, a fluid, that the whole system is custom designed, of course, since it's a prototype. And we heat up a fluid, and we run that fluid into a device we invented called an electrocrown, and it actually produces electricity as well as heat. The excess heat that goes through it comes out at a relatively high temperature. And so right now we're in the process of testing the electrical output as well as what we're going to be doing with the heat, the waste heat that's still coming out. It's not really waste heat, but right now it is.
Right. So I think probably a lot of people that would watch this would have no idea what you're talking about. A Fresnel lens is basically like a giant magnifying glass, and it follows the sun. It moves side to side and up and down so that it beams the focal point of that magnifying lens onto a target where the fluid is being heated, and then the rest of it Larry described pretty simply for you to understand. And if I think the best way to really understand it is to actually see it. But if you go to Larry's website, kingsss.ca, you can take a look at our startup company, and also you can look at our recycling business because we have a page hosted there. So, and I just purchased a new website, camerasrecycling.com. That's what I called it. So you can check that out too and learn all about our businesses. And but yeah, definitely when you are in a smaller community and you're offering a service and somebody else comes along and offers a similar service, the only reason that you would need to sweat about that is if they're beating you on price. If they've got a lower price, then you're going to have to look at somehow cutting costs so that you can lower your price to either undercut them or match them. That's kind of how the game works, isn't it?
Well, I think in any business, when something comes along and disrupts your business, I think the reaction is always a little bit of shock at first, and then almost like an anxiety feeling of what am I going to do. And the thing that I think what we learned, or what everybody will learn from that experience, if you're not in business yet, you will be in business if you're following what we're talking about. then you'll learn that yeah, you can react and then calm down and then reassess the situation. And like you were saying, anything can happen in any business. But that's the fun about being in business. Is disruptive technologies happen, disruptive businesses change. Sometimes things just go away because they're no longer needed anymore, like the case in the wagon wheel when the automobile came out. And so horse and wagons disappeared. Everybody didn't sit around crying, having a crying fit,
I'm
but
sure a few people did for a little while.
I don't know. It's a transition, and all this stuff is coming full circle to sustainability. Like people, I think, are going to realize, and I haven't even mentioned this in quite some time, but it's very similar to a time before I was born. Probably my parents, when they were little, and my grandparents knew about this a long time ago. Is a lot of stuff was about sustainability. A lot of stuff was about my shoes have worn out. Oh, I'm going to throw them in the garbage. No, that's not what people used to do. When their shoes wore out, they would take them to a shoe repairman who would repair their shoes. This is the
Cobbler.
huh?
Cobbler.
Yeah, and this is the type of sustainability I think we're actually, in a sense, going back to, but at the same time moving ahead. Why? Because we have things like robots and computers to assist us. So rather than when your shoes wear out, rather than take them to a shoe repair dude, you're going to give them to your robot, and your robot's going to fix them, or something to that effect. Whereas you're not going to throw it in the garbage anymore. That era is going to be a bygone era. As Alvin Toffler wrote in the future in his book Future Shock, which is the book that changed my life as a child. I read that book and it changed my life. He said that the throwaway society was eventually going to disappear. The guy was kind of a prophet. I don't know why more people don't talk about Alvin Toffler. It seems like people talk about doom and gloom of Nostradamus more than they do about guys that really knew where we were headed. And it was kind of common sense. This guy knew if we're going to be throwing stuff away, we're going to be sitting on piles and piles of garbage. He knew this back, I think the book was written in the 70s. I'm not exactly sure. However, he knew that what was once happening was going to repeat itself in the future. He didn't know what time, but when I read that book as part of the curriculum when I was in school, it had a huge effect on my life, and it made me who I am today. And I think that's must have been the effect that it had on a lot of people in my generation. Because if you look around, there's a lot of sustainability activity going on in industry today, in not just energy, but in recycling, in waste management, biotechnology, dealing with hazardous waste, reducing hazardous waste. There's been a lot of news reports out of Japan. I have a deep respect for Japan because they have been through a lot in history, and they seem to be super resilient as a people, and they are now, like I said in one of our other videos, they have replaced their major labor workforce with robots up to 30%. 30% is a huge number when you think about how big Japan is. And so they've been kind of on this trail longer than we have, and I think you got to get hats off to Japan for the way they're doing things in that country right now, because of the Fukushima nuclear reactor. Um, it wasn't. It was quite a tragic occurrence for the nuclear industry. However, we've all. I think everybody's always had this kind of queasy feeling when it comes to nuclear energy. A lot of people think it's safe. A lot of people think it's not safe. Well, the proof is in the pudding. What happened in Fukushima? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Changed the Japanese people's way of thinking about energy, and they have just been going gangbusters on all types of renewable energy, and they're actually thinking about completely getting away from nuclear technology just because of that one experience of having that those reactors go down and during that. I think that was the was that the tsunami that caused that, or an earthquake?
Well, they go hand in hand as far as I know. However, I have heard internet conspiracy theories saying that they detonated a nuke under the ocean, and that's what caused it. But I don't know if there's much. If there, I don't really know that they had a lot of evidence for that. But you gotta love the internet and all the crazy things you can find absolutely anything. People that believe all sorts of outlandish things. But yeah, definitely Japan, I think was that experience was a wake up call for the whole world that nuclear power probably isn't sustainable, and that it probably is dangerous, and it's a great opportunity for companies like King Sunshine Solar Systems and any other company that's working with alternative energy, because the whole world's perspective on nuclear and oil and gas has shifted in a huge way, because of so many things that are going on. And I don't know, I get really upset about people that talk about climate change or global warming, because really, I don't know about where you live, but where we live, our weather forecasters cannot give us a consistent 5-day forecast that's anywhere near correct. Like very seldom. They can tell us how the weather is today, how it's going to be tomorrow, and maybe the next day, but after that, you wait 2 days and that day's weather is going to be completely different from what they're predicting. So what that tells me is that the climate science is not sound, that it's really, I don't know, I think that somehow they're trying to manipulate the population. However, I think that it is, like, what I think that they're doing is they're creating a problem that doesn't exist to take people's focus off of the real problem, which is pollution. Every single person on the planet will agree that pollution is a bad thing and that they don't want it. But no one can really agree about climate change. No one can agree about global warming. It's just a big scam to get people arguing and not focusing on solving the problem. Because there are companies out there that are profiting hugely off their ability to pollute. There's not as many as there used to be, but they're still out there. And so I'm a firm believer that some of these big polluters, they also have ownership of many media outlets outside of the internet, nearly all. And though that climate change stuff, this global warming stuff is all just a bunch of hook'em. Like, obviously, if they can't predict the weather 5 days in a row consistently, then I really have serious doubts about climate science. Because if you can't deal with weather that happens over a few days, how am I supposed to believe that you have factual evidence about the history or the future of climate? You don't. All these scientists are speculating, and I believe that they're being paid to do it. Just like Al Gore, I believe he was paid much money to make his movie and book in order to create this mess. And it really is a mess, because there's so many brilliant people studying our climate, which doesn't really matter. And talking about CO2, every time we exhale, we're exhaling CO2. Carbon is the most abundant element on the planet. Surely it's not poison. But what is poison is carbon monoxide. And nobody's focusing on things like that: pollution, actual toxic contaminants and waste that's occurring out there while they're arguing about whether or not the climate is changing or what the climate's going to do. You can't even predict the weather for 5 days, and you're going to preach to me about climate. I love science. It gives us so much. However, I think that in this day and age, our science has been manipulated. A lot of the science textbooks, I think, have been hijacked with people that have selfish personal interest for gaining profit in whatever they're doing. But the good news is that with people like us talking openly about these issues and all sorts of other people understanding that they have been and they are being scammed, that our media is controlled in North America anyway, and that the information that they're giving us is totally propaganda. And I don't know, I can preach about that all day long because it's very, very frustrating
Yeah, it's kind of awful.
to meet people that that argue about something like climate change, and they're totally been manipulated. Because if we all, and more people are seeing the manipulation, and so it's just really positive and wonderful to know that people are starting to realize, okay, let's ignore that and let's focus on the real tangible problems that we can all agree on. And it's not an easy thing, organizing people and shifting their focus to where what really matters, what's going to make a difference. It's quite a task, and fortunately, there's so many people that have undertaken the task to open people's eyes to what really goes on and what we can really do about it. So it's the most exciting time, I think, in all of human history to be alive. There's so many things that are changing, not only with like alternative energy and everyone's devotion to sustainability, but with our communications and like being able to get on these hangouts and share thoughts and ideas in a forum like this, while at the same time, utilizing Jetson type Visiphone technology, or you can do it on Skype or all kinds of places. It's just a really fascinating and amazing time to be alive, for sure.
Yep.
But back to recycling. Yeah, so definitely I was like totally mortified. Well, this morning, and after having my one horse die the other week, just like my plan is not working. But in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about the most successful people that they talk to, they always say how their greatest success came like right after the moment that they were ready to quit. So I feel that there's some really awesome things that are going to start happening for us in the next couple of next couple. Did you hear that? You gotta love my respectful son. He just came in here and told me off. He's 17, so he knows everything. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about, Larry? You're muted.
You were talking about, you're starting to talk about recycling again.
Oh yeah, it's been it is an amazing business, and yeah, competition is a good thing. Oh yeah, my point is in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill describes how many people find their greatest success just one step past their moment of like being ready to quit. And so I feel like something really, really big is right around the corner for us, because in the past couple of weeks, I've felt ready to quit quite a few times. But fortunately, I have Larry as a partner, and he's able to kind of set me back on track, because I have a tendency to like panic and freak out about things. Something I'm working on. It's maybe a little bit of immaturity that I have, or whatever, and so I react instead of respond. And so I'm learning more and more why it's important to respond. And if I hadn't gone all the way to Thailand so that I could read the book Think and Grow Rich, because I traveled all the way to Thailand to a mastermind where this gentleman introduced me to the book and had a copy and lent it to me, and I read it while I was there. And if I hadn't got access to that book, I probably would have quit a long time ago. So if you don't know about Think and Grow Rich, or you don't have it, look for me, Trisha Lee Bannock, on Facebook, and send me a message, or look for me on Google Plus or wherever, Trisha Lee Bannock, TRISHALY, and I can get you a free copy of Think and Grow Rich for you to read. Or you can just go to YouTube and you can get the video and just listen to the audio from it. But it's an amazing book. And even if you don't have a business, it talks a lot about, there's a lot of really great information out there for people that have jobs too. It's just like applicable to almost any area of your life, not just business. It is a book that's based on business philosophies, but there's so much good stuff that just can be applied to any relationships and everyday life. And it's just a phenomenal resource. So I'm really glad. It was well worth the like $10,000 I spent to go to Thailand just to read that book. I would have paid twice as much. So, do you have any more comments about our future competition here? I guess starting April 1st, we'll have another curbside recycling company here in North Alberta.
Well, it's funny that that's happening, because that close to that time, I think we're getting our crowdfunding campaign going around that same time for the horse and wagon. Something that's, you want to talk about disruptive technology, you can have electric vehicles and run the risk of lithium ion, like we were talking about in the last one, lithium ion batteries being a potential hazard to the earth, somehow making it not possible for plants to grow. I'm not exactly sure on the stats on that. That was just a report that I got in one of my newsletters. But yeah, when we start picking up recycling using horse and wagon, that has never, ever been hazardous to the environment. It's
never been done. Never been done. When people used to use horses to transport, there was no recycling. No such thing.
Well, it was different back then when they used horse and wagon. They recycling wasn't even a term yet, because there was no throwaway society, and so it was, hey, my shoes are worn out, or hey, this blanket's got a hole in it, my socks have got holes in it. What did you do? You fixed them. Even before that time, my bear skin coat has got a hole. I better go get another bear or fix this one. So yeah, it's really fascinating, the human society that we've got in North America and in other countries. That's always something that I like to also compare what we do here in North America to other places around the world. North America is still in its infancy in many ways. However, I think it was recently I read that Germany, the size of Germany, I think, what did I say? We were talking about it being the fourth largest GDP on the planet, the fourth biggest money-making country on the planet is this little.
I think Japan is in the top 3, and they're even smaller than Germany.
I'm not exactly sure what the stats are, but when you look at North America, what are we doing?
Yeah. We're just a little resource rich and started, and yes, and so people have been a little foolish with the resources in the past, but that's definitely changing, so super encouraging.
It can't change soon enough. I think it's really got to happen. We're as civilized as the old world now. This used to be the new world, and there was a lot of buffalo killed and things, a lot of things that happened in North America that probably shouldn't have happened or were definitely not necessary. But let's move on here. We're pretty much the civilized continent now, and we really have to start uh, moving with the rest of the planet. If we're going to have, if you want to call it a new world order or whatever, where we're all on the same page as far as um, the human race. We've got to pull up our socks here in North America. I'm pretty sure because we're kind of dragging the ball here. Like
Oh,
we gotta,
definitely. Like when we went to Germany, every other house had PV solar panels on the roof. Every other business had these things on their roof. It was everywhere. And
and that
here,
was before they were cheap.
yeah, and that was like what, 5 years ago now. And here, like I'm sure there's only more there. Here, there's more than there was, but there's still not even a fraction, not even a fraction of what we got in Germany.
Yeah, and you know, just to go along with that statement, we there was there's a map showing how much and this is just talking solar photovoltaic energy. It says if you were to cover the state, not that this would happen or should happen because it's a beautiful state, but if you had a landmass the size of West Virginia and you totally covered that square area, square footage with solar panels, that would be enough to provide energy for all of North America, which is really mind-boggling because what it does is really show you how sparsely populated North America really is. Because as we all know, or most of us know, that if you want to power just your house, it takes, I don't know if this still today is the same, but it's pretty close. The square footage of your house, you multiply that by 3, and that's how many solar panels you generally need to run your house on solar energy. So the size of West Virginia compared to the size of America and the size of 3 times the square footage of your house for solar panels, it really, really shows you how sparsely populated this continent is compared to a country like Germany.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we're coming up to the top of the hour here. And yeah, I just one thing I was thinking about, I wonder, I'm so curious. I would really be curious to know. I wonder how much this new company knows about us. They have to be aware that we exist, right? I don't
Well,
know.
the city
But
knows about them, and I'm sure they
uh,
did
but
some.
it seems to me that they haven't really done their due diligence if they haven't come in here to try and undercut us. Because I
No, I don't
don't.
think that's their objective.
Yeah, but um, yeah, I think that that is your objective. When you come in, when you come in with a new business, you want to take over the whole marketplace. That's what everybody wants. Like, come on. Of course that's their objective. And so but it seems to me that if you're going to come in and into a marketplace and be competitive, the pricing just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. But that's awesome. I'm super happy that more people are going to get to recycle if they can get all the people that aren't subscribed to our service to sign up for their service. Well, good. As long as people are recycling, I'm going to be happy. And even if they did put us out of business, I'm going to be happy because we've got another company that really could use a lot more of our time and resources. Actually, so but anyway, we'll see what happens, and we'll keep everybody updated. I encourage anyone that's interested in our companies to visit Larry's website, kingsss.ca, and you can click on the recycle page to learn about our curbside recycling company, TK Environmental. And you can snoop around the rest of the website to learn all about our disruptive solar technology, and see pictures and I believe videos of our patented prototype. So yeah, super exciting stuff. So I always close these Hangouts by extending an invitation to anybody out there watching to join us, Empower Network live training. Every week, Empower Network does live trainings. One is via a conference call called the Empower Hour on Monday nights, and on Thursday nights, they do a webinar called the All Access Training. And so tonight is Thursday. So as soon as this Hangout ends, we're going to be hopping on to the All Access Training. And what we learned from Empower Network and the All Access Training is all about internet marketing and how to be able to use internet marketing as a competitive edge for your business. And even if you don't even have a business, you can start your own business as an affiliate for Empower Network. And yeah, they teach you all kinds of amazing strategies on YouTube and Facebook and Pinterest. And tonight there's this amazing woman. Her name is Tracy Walker. She's from Chicago, Illinois, and she lives in Atlanta, Georgia. And as a single mom, she's been able to earn over $1 million. I believe she said it was like 26 months or 24 months. She earned $1 million in commissions with her Empower Network business. And so tonight she's going to be teaching our community the perpetual power formula. And so for us, the internet marketing thing is, it's a little, we've been applying it a lot with our offline companies, but it's not our main focus. Obviously, our offline businesses are already highly profitable. So we are just, we just use Empower Network to supplement our income, as well as just be able to learn a lot of really great stuff and meet some really amazing people. And while you're watching Tracy Walker on the webinar, you'll have the opportunity to purchase a ticket to go to Nashville, Tennessee, where I will be in Nashville, Tennessee at the end of April. And so hopefully by the time I get back, we're ready to put our horses on the road. We'll see how it goes, or shortly after. But in Nashville, Tracy Walker will be there, and there'll also be thousands of other members from the company. And basically, the Monday and Thursday night trainings, weekly trainings, all accumulate into a big giant live training that is done in like a huge ballroom at some fancy resort. And this year we'll be at the Gaylord Opryland Resort. Larry hopped off there, which is right by the Grand Ole Opry, and it's like a phenomenal resort. And so I'm super, super excited to be going and reuniting with my Empower family here in like about a month. Yeah, less than a month, I think. So anyway, I really encourage you to, like I said, check out our website. It's kingsss.ca, and also click on the recycling tab. And then, as soon as this Hangout ends, if you're on the page, or if you're on YouTube, you can click to the page, and usually there's usually a replay. So even if you're not watching live, you can probably still access the awesome Empower Network training. But it's really amazing, because honestly, I've paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for training on the internet for how to commercialize and kind of to promote my business on the internet. And I got to tell you, a lot of the training that I bought was so freaking boring. But the Empower Network is totally different, because they don't just do like a slideshow with one person talking and you take notes. They have a whole variety of people who are successful with a whole variety of strategies. So it's like this buffet of internet marketing where you can just pick and choose what will work for you in your business and apply it. and everything is taught very step by step. There's grandmas doing it. There's a 12-year-old boy who made like $12,000 in 3 months doing it through his dad's account, obviously, because you have to be over 18 to participate. But this 12-year-old got his dad to set him up an account, and he made $12,000 in 3 months. So there's all kinds of people. There's been blind people, people that are hearing impaired, that have been able to use this training to generate it. So I highly recommend that you check out our live training that will be coming up in like a minute here. So I'll leave it at that. As soon as I end this, click the button below the video or the link if you're on YouTube, and check out our Empower training. And before I go, I just want everybody watching to know that I'm a firm believer that in this life, absolutely anybody can be, do, and have anything they want, or we can have everything we want. And I choose everything, and I hope you will too, because you can. So click the button and find out how. And if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you out in the pasture on one of my many videos. Bye. Thanks for watching. See you Monday.